إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أنه لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى صحابته الكرام ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أوصيكم أوصي نفسي بتقوى الله في السر والعلن يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Brothers and sisters, it's narrated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about himself, أَنَا غَايَةُ الْآمَالِ كُلِّهَا. I'm the highest of all hopes and the only source of attaining one's hopes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only means by which any desires can be attained or fears can be guarded against. And yet He is the ultimate gain and the ultimate fear. And when our iman is weak, then Allah Ta'ala has to create for us something that our souls can recognize. And that is a person fears something of his creation or desires something of Allah's creation. Why? Because we're weak and don't recognize the status of Allah Himself. That is Allah Ta'ala. It is the only thing to be truly desired. And when we fail to attain that, it's not anyone's fault. Sometimes we're weak. So Allah Ta'ala creates for us a similitude. He creates for us a carrot or a stick. We won't move for Allah Himself because of our ignorance, because of the sins that overcome our hearts, and because spiritual immaturity, weakness of ruh. So Allah Ta'ala creates for the human being carrots and sticks. Things we fear and things we desire. And there is no means to protection from one or gaining the other except traveling to Allah. The result, essentially, is the same, is that we move to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, Prophet ﷺ told us the ibadah of people is three. It's the same ibadah, but different levels. The first ibadah, he will only move if he's afraid of something. And therefore, if you find yourself lazy with Allah Ta'ala, it's very simple. Look at all the things that could go wrong. And know there's only one protector. It's Allah. This will make you move. It will make you get up. It'll make you up on your salah. That you imagine all the things that can go wrong in my business or in my family. If that's the only thing that moves you, then use it as a technique. Yet others, if you tell him Allah's waiting for you, remember Him, he doesn't move. He's not guilty, he's just weak. He's not there yet. He's immature in his ruh, and his spirit, and his ma'rifah, and his experience. So you tell him, all right, that doesn't move you? Don't you want something? Everyone has a price. You want something, don't you? And you're going to want something and desire something by Allah's power, not your power. Because if it's your power, you know you're too weak. So you don't desire anything. You become depressed. No. By Allah's power, you want something that you can't fathom. But if it's by Allah's power, your imagination can move all around the universe of what it is that will move your heart. And you place that in front of you. That becomes your character. And you move. Who owns it? Who possesses it? Who can give it to you? So learn to interact with it properly. He might just give it to you. This is how you move. Until finally, after multiple experiences of this, finally, the person realizes, I've discovered something far greater than my desires. And I've had my desires. And they're created things. So created thing, like this walls, like your clothes, it fades. It loses its luster. And you realize, I'm going to go from one created thing to another. It's the same thing. What's greater than this is the creator of all things. And in the process of avoiding what you fear and gaining what you desire, you come to know Allah Himself. This is ma'rifatullah. And this is why there are bad things and good things in the world. There are only bad things and good things in the world in the eyes of someone who hasn't yet realized أَنَا غَايَةُ الْأَمَالِ كُلِّهَا, that Allah Ta'ala is the chief end and the only one to be feared or desired. It's because of our weakness that we have to see the creation as something to fear or something to be desired. But this is okay, because the Prophet ﷺ said, you worship Allah as a slave who's afraid of a beating, is accepted. You graduate up to the worship of Allah of someone desirous, and we all have wants, it's acceptable as long as you keep moving forward until you've graduated and experienced the protection from Allah in a miraculous way, or experienced the generosity of Allah in a miraculous way. I asked for something impossible in my view, in my world, in my mind. This is utterly impossible, and yet Allah made it happen. This is Allah making Himself known to you. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Ali were asked, how did you come to know Allah? He said, you don't come to know Allah. Allah makes Himself known to you however He wishes. And the amounts of ways in which Allah makes Himself known to people is as the number of breaths. Allah may make Himself known to you many times in your own life. Many little ways. You don't just, it's not a switch. I didn't know Allah, now I know Allah. It's more like the rising of the sun. A little bit of light, a little more light, a little more light, and a little more light. Every phase of your life is something different. It's a different path to ma'rifah. I was chasing this when I was young. I got it. And I really started to understand Allah. Then life moves on. Then something terrible happened. I needed protection. And Allah protected me. I came to know Him in a different way. And came to know Him. Look at this earth. You don't open your eyes and say that you know the earth. No, you know a facet of the earth. You know our little part of the earth. But you've never seen what the desert looks like. You've never seen what the mountains look like. You've never seen what the Grand Canyon looks like. You've never seen what the stars look like. There's too much light in the city. We don't know what the stars look like. You've never seen a shooting star. You've never seen a volcano. If that's the earth, what about the creator of the earth? So yes, you know the earth. A little portion of it. Travel through the earth, you'll see so many amazing animals and nature. And you start to know the earth more. Well, the creator of the earth is very similar in that you will know Him in phases. This phase of my life, I know Him through this. Young man may know Allah Ta'ala through his journey to get married. He gets older through his journey to provide. Oh, Allah help me, I need to provide for these kids. Show me a path, give me the rizq. I'm in debt, I'm in trouble. A little later in life, I'm starting a great business. Oh Allah, I need your help. Every phase of life, you come to know Allah differently. Just like you're going to know this earth differently if you're in New Jersey versus Mexico versus Canada versus Africa. You see different parts of the earth. Likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you, seek protection from your anxieties. Seek your desires, but through the right way. Come to me. I give it to you. In the process of coming to me, you will learn, you will come to meet Allah Himself. That's the secret. And this is why Allah does not mind to give you anything as long as you seek it in the right way. And what is the sign? The sign, also Hikam ibn Atta, and all of the Imams agreed to the meaning. Sometimes it's attributed to Atta ibn Abi Rabah. Sometimes it's different ulama. متى أطلق الله لسانك بالطلب فاعلم أنه يريد أن يعطيك ما تشاء مهما كبر وعظم وبعد. This is a saying. The meaning of it is sound. But what does it actually mean? It means when Allah أطلق لسانك بالدعاء. أطلق, we have to return to this word. When He opens up your tongue for dua and ibadah. and dhikr. That means all day, all night, all you think about is your thing, what you are asking for, and you're begging Allah for it. In different ways. I learned one dua here, I learned another dua from another book. I saw on the internet another dua, let me do this dua, let me pray at the tahajjud, let me do this, let me do sadaqah. All day, atlaq. He lets you roam free in the world of dhikr and dua. This is a sign that Allah has planted a seed in your heart and a carrot in front of your eyes so that you can chase it. In fact, you are arriving at Him. This is a sign. When Allah opens your heart for dua and dhikr and ibadah to the degree like, I didn't know I did this ibadah before. I didn't know I could do this. I'm like non-stop dhikr, non-stop ibadah. This is not me. What happened to me? All of a sudden, this is from Allah Ta'ala because He has already willed to give you this and more. Ma'rifah of His own self. So follow it and chase it, and you will come to know Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. We'll go down this stuff for a while. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. From the adab of turning to Allah Ta'ala is that every dua, every ibadah, every dhikr has to have two wings, or else it doesn't take flight. The two wings are salah on His noble messenger before, at the beginning and in the end. Otherwise, Sayyidina Umar said, we will not fly to the heavens without the two wings of salah on the messenger in the beginning and in the end. And my brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, remember those that you have, others don't have. So remember in our dua, people who are suffering from our ummah, and the list is growing. Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, wa barik lana fi man atayt, wa qina wasrif anna sharra ma qadayt, wa ma zalamna anfusana, wa in lam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna min al-khasirin. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of our parents, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them to Islam if they're outside of Islam. And if they're in Islam, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make their end of days the best of their days. And to make the sakarat al-maut, the throngs of death, easy upon them. And to enter them into the grave with ease, and to give them thabat in the questioning in the grave, and to make their grave a rawdah, a small piece of garden of paradise. And if they've already passed, then may Allah Ta'ala put mercy in their grave and expand it, and push away all pains and troubles in their graves, and enter them Jannah without hisab. We ask Allah Ta'ala for the people, the Rohingya, for the Uyghurs, the Muslims in Kashmir, Muslims in India, in Gaza, in the Niger, the poorest country in the world, Bangladesh, which is now 20 million Rohingya in it, and they're already the poorest country in the world. We ask Allah Ta'ala for all those of the Syrians and the refugees, for all of those suffering in Afghanistan and Iraq. Lands have been destroyed. We ask Allah Ta'ala, oh Allah, turn to them with your kindness and your mercy, and busy their enemies and destroy their enemies. We ask Allah Ta'ala to destroy their enemies and all those who are causing their suffering. We ask Allah Ta'ala for all those in His Ummah, Muhammad ﷺ, suffering from anxiety, that Allah removes their anxiety. All those thirsty and hungry for your generosity, oh Allah, be generous with them, so that we may come to know you further and more, and increase in our mahabbah in you. Oh Allah, show us your power in our lives, in granting us what we've always sought and desired, and protecting us from what we've always feared. Lastly, we ask Allah Ta'ala to make none more beloved to us than His most beloved Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.